Yo, hello, hello. Let's see. Is my audio actually working today? Every stream, there's something new, unpredictable with audio. So we gotta find out. How's it going, folks? Hyper Shiba in the chat. What's going on? Let's see. Yo, Lie! How's it going? Okay, yeah, audio is working. Pappas in the chat. What's happening? What's happening? I'm going live here because I haven't gone live in a while. Just going to talk about, I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. Just the usual, hanging out, asking questions. Probably going to talk about the DeWalt camera a little bit, some other camera stuff. I'm in a big camera modification kind of zone right now because it's too hot outside. Don't feel like doing anything on the car or anything like that because it's so damn hot. So I'm staying inside and tinkering with cameras. Guess what I did today? Got an old Kodak color burst working. Got to modify the film holder to work with new Instax film. Sick. Look how cool the color burst body looks though. Send it to me. Cell phone camera mod? True, I did do that. For anybody in the Discord might have seen it. I was tearing apart my phone. This will probably be a video later on. I don't know if I have good lenses for it yet, but I like completely removed the back glass from my phone because it was already shattered. And then I took off one of the lighting's really bad here, but one of the lenses I took off. It's covered with gaff tape right now. But so I can take that off and it's just the sensor. And then I can put little C-mount lenses on it or other tiny lens mounts like this would work. Like that. And just have a tiny little cell phone camera rig sort of thing. Which will be honestly stupid because the sensor's so small. I need like an ultra wide lens to do it, which I might not have yet. But that'll be something at some point. And now my phone looks like this. Huge hair. Wow. Yeah, I haven't cut this in a while. Can't stand watch, but hi. What's up, Schmo? Good to see you here. Have you considered making a large format camera? Maybe. Maybe. Good evening from Italy. What's up? Is an 8mm lens wide enough? Maybe. I don't know what the exact sensor size is here. It would be much better on a camera or on a phone that has like a 1-inch sensor or something. Then it would be totally fine. This one is like so freaking tiny. I was kind of like holding up. Actually, I could probably do it right now. Let me just take this tape off. But I was testing like 25mm lenses on it, and it was just so long. It's got to be like a almost 10x crop factor or something insane. So an 8mm would probably end up as like a 35 or a 50 or something, just ballparking it. Oh. So check this out. So this is Blackmagic camera app on that mount. Let's see if I can get it. There, you can kind of see an image. Flange distance is wrong, but that is me holding up a 25mm D mount. It's really washed out because I'm getting tons of light leaks, but You get the concept. So what we're seeing there is that Monopoly board right there. So it's very zoomed in. I haven't actually tried. So this is a 13 millimeter C mount. Maybe this will do something. See if we can get this the right distance. That's got to be held a lot farther away. So that's my widest C-mount lens. Oh, there we go. Lots of light leaks in there, but you see the general frame. So I think to get anything decently wide, I need like a 4 millimeter or something like that. I have an 8.5 C mount I can send to the PO box. It's kind of a stinker for big sensor cameras. Ooh, did that come through on the camera? Or on the mic? It just freaked out and buzzed at me. I think that was the sensor trying to stabilize, and it was just buzzing around. Look at this. Get the lighting. I did a complete hack job to get that sensor out. So there's the tiny little sensor. Maybe I can get it to do it again by like shaking it. I don't know. But it freaked out there for a quick second. Why is your phone green? It's just covered in gaff tape because there's still glass shards on it. There's also glass shards all over my room, frankly. It's pretty hard to get the back glass off when it's already shattered. Anyway, that's something. I'll make that video one day whenever I have a good lens to fit on it. But yeah, Kevin, feel free to send that if you don't need it. I can source my own lenses down the road if I don't feel obligated to send anything. Saying hi from my shift at work now. Bye. Sup, Joe? Hello from work. Lots of people at work. I guess I am streaming a little earlier. West Coast, it's what, 2:30 right now? Speaking of West Coast, isn't Open Sauce is this weekend? Unfortunately, I'm not going to Open Sauce. I hope everybody that's going has a lovely time. But it was just not in the cards for me this year. I thought about like stretching the budget to make it work, but it was just going to be way too expensive coming from Indiana all the way out to San Francisco or San Mateo. Just is not going to happen currently. But next year, I will probably be in a financial and career position that it will make more sense to go. I'm sure the Discord will have a lot of fun updates from people going there. What were you saying, Lie? Do you happen to have a wiper motor, preferably 12 volt? I do. I have a whole box of little motors. Some of them 110 volt, some of them 12 volt. I think I saved the wiper motor from the Hyundai. So yeah, I got options. I'll trade you for 2x4s. Bro, come over anytime. I got motors for you to look at. There's an entire box. It's kind of hard to see from this camera angle, but I've been doing some studio organization. And this whole shelf over here is floor-to-ceiling cardboard boxes. I've been like organizing random junk I had, and one of them is just random electric motors. Love using 8mm lens on digital cameras. Pentax Q has a way of screwing on the lens. Oh yeah, that's a 1-inch sensor, right? I bet that looks sick. What's up, AP Barlow? Love from UK, from Brazil. So it's late at night for y'all. I'm Still on no money May. Me too, kind of. I have not been spending much on these projects. But the next video is a sponsor. Not paid, but I got some free lenses, so that's something. On my way up, you know. We have some cool lenses to try out for the next video. Cine lenses. Which is going to be a ridiculous video. Just screwing around with a bunch of cameras that I don't use that often. We'll get the resurgence of a couple fan favorites from the channel. Action camera, the modified Insta360 will come back. And the EOS M, I will probably be using this. I haven't figured out how to get the lenses on it yet, but I'm probably going to mod this tonight. This is what the EOS M looks like right now. No screen on the back. But funny enough, it still shoots like this. With no screen, no buttons, you can still actually record. I have that apart because I'm repairing the D-pad on it, or whatever it's called, the control pad on the back. One day that'll get its whole own video. So we can say you're progressing with the money. Hopefully. I'm not getting paid for this sponsor, but I'm getting some nice free lenses, so that's something. Nice, first time catching a live stream. What's up? What's up? Did you get the manual ones? I did. Because I'm gonna mod them onto a bunch of random cameras. That's the main reason I got them. All manual, so I can just stick them on random crazy stuff. I have the EOS M to EF adapter. Will that help? Nah, I'm good. I got one of those too. These are E-mount, or I got some of them in micro 4/3 too. So I'm gonna have to like either 3D print or physically mod this flange to fit it, which is gonna be a hell of a time. I'm excited for that. PCBWay 100%. I probably will rebook with PCBWay. I'm not gonna do very many sponsors, but you know, occasionally, every other month or so. I want to keep it mostly like just my own stuff, because I think it's just better that way. But occasionally I will be taking things, and PCBWay is a really good one because that's like authentic, like actually use that. There's a lot of other stuff that would be cool to take, but that I just don't need, like really nice 3D printers and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm fine with my cheap Ender 3. I could paint filaments too. Sick. Yeah, come over sometime. You ever shoot film? I did one video on film. Or that makes it sound like I shot the video on film. No. I did a video about a film camera. And I haven't shot any film since then. But I should, honestly. I've got a couple extra rolls. I just haven't found like the film camera that I really like shooting on yet. The one that I have is this one. Bullseye C22. It's pretty quirky. It's fun. But it's a fixed 44 millimeter lens, which I find to be like pretty, like it's not long enough and it's not wide enough. Like I'd rather it be a 35 or a 50. It's kind of a weird middle ground. So maybe I'll like mod this or something, but it would be a shame to tear apart this whole twin reflex thing. So I'll probably just get a different film camera at some point. Ooh. Almost just put a big old scratch in my cinema lens. A1 Mini would change your life. Probably would. I think they offered it to me, but I'm like, I don't know. My whole channel is about like accessibility and doing stuff cheaply, so it feels a little inauthentic to take a really nice printer. I guess that one's probably not that expensive, is it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel as weird about taking nice camera gear because that's like the videos are about cheap projects, but when it comes to the actual gear I'm using, it's whatever. But yeah, maybe one day I'll get a nicer printer. I don't know. That's it. I'm moving in. You'll have all the stuff you'll need. Still use crop mood in my EOS M, but I don't use raw video. I haven't messed around with the EOS M in a while, and I know there's some new updates on it. Last time I checked, it was only really decent on raw, but I know it's gotten better. So I'm kind of excited to shoot on it. I might be shooting on this tonight, actually. I'm gonna go to the canals in Indy or something like that. What's up, Carlos? Good to see you here. Was that a zone focus camera? I don't think so. I don't exactly know what zone focus means, but it's got like the two lenses that move together, twin reflex or whatever, and it's got the top viewfinder, which is pretty sick. Don't know if it'll show up here, but it's fun to shoot on. I just don't love the 44 millimeter focal length. But an all manual film camera is definitely the way to go, in my opinion. Dude, the sponsors, nobody's worried as long as you keep chewing wood. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. My tune may change later, but for now I'm being pretty selective about it. But I appreciate it. Been getting 35 millimeter rangefinders at thrift stores. That's sick. Only thing I've seen at thrift stores, film camera wise, is like point and shoots. But those are sick too. Any adjustment to the workspace in the works or thought about doing? Yes, for sure. So next video is a camera video, which I know makes 3 camera videos in a row. I usually try to split up the topics, but I've just been excited about it recently. And then I think the video after that, so roughly 2-3 weeks from now, will be a workshop upgrade vid. So there's 2 main things I'm doing. One is redoing a lot of this desk area, because generally in my workspace, because I'm like, I just set up my workspaces in my bedroom in whatever house I'm renting, and so I end up having to move it a lot, and so I try to build things segmented, like this whole shelf wall is all a bunch of little segments, but this has grown into a massive thing, and so I'd like to tear it apart and kind of rebuild it in a more modular way, where it's easier to take apart and rebuild. So like having this whole tool wall as like one standalone unit that gets screwed on, and then I can just take that off and move it on its own. Because right now, if I needed to move this, it would be like disassemble all of that. But actually, before I disassemble that, I need to disassemble the camera shelf up here and the monitor shelf. And then that back can come off, and that needs to come off before the tops can come off, and then the side legs can come off. Then I can split the 2 desks. So it's a whole mess. So big rebuild of this double 8-foot L-shaped desk, which will be crazy. And I'm potentially putting some plywood under it too to make it easier to clean up when I've got like metal shavings and sawdust and stuff. Because right now it ends up like, you know, I'm running this whole thing on a rug, and that makes sawdust an issue sometimes. And then the other thing is redoing this whole section over here. I had this like jut out section of the of this standing desk area, and then I ended up not really actually using this space much, and it kind of just gets in the way of shots having this in the center of the room. So I think I'm gonna sort of rethink this corner. So that'll be another thing as well. Car update, please. It's been so freaking hot outside that I have honestly not worked on it that much. Kind of waiting on it to cool down, but that's probably not going to be for a while. So, I got tentatively in my schedule a car video coming. We'll just have to see what the weather looks like. It's been raining so much here too. But basically, the 4Runner is pretty solidly operational now. Sorry, I was fidgeting with this. That probably came through on the mic. The 4Runner is pretty nicely operational now. So now it's time to get going on the whole cab swap thing, if I end up doing that. At the very least, the 4Runner is getting turned into a pickup truck. Even if I don't swap the cabs, I'm cutting the back half off where it got crushed, and making some sort of pickup truck bed. Whether I weld that up if steel prices are looking decent, or build it out of wood, like a farm truck kind of bed. But that'll be happening this summer, potentially fairly soon, if it's not like crazy rainy. But it's supposed to rain all next week. So that'll be very exciting. Just the thing with that is there's a lot of off-camera work that needs to happen too. So it ends up slowing down the upload schedule when I do a lot of work on the car. Because it's like I could easily spend a full week of my spare time just doing basic maintenance that I'm probably not going to film, and rust prevention, like cleaning up the frame and stuff like that. So it's a hell of a rabbit hole. But as for the exciting stuff, next video you'll see will probably be chopping the back half off of the 4Runner, which is going to be crazy. And as for the Tucson is fully stripped down to just a cab to do whatever I please with that, whether that gets transferred to the 4Runner chassis or I do something else with it. It's all ready to go. I watch your video and sometimes really wonder why you don't cover those sensors. Yep. I get that comment more than anything else, probably, on my camera videos. People just saying, oh, I cringed. Why didn't you cover your sensor? The truth is, well, I don't do it on my main camera. On the FX30, I keep the sensor very clean. On all my other cameras, it's like, if I'm doing any professional, like commercial work on the side or doing some short film project, I'm using the FX30. So anything where I really, really care about the results is going to be on that camera, and that camera I take very careful care of. As for the other cameras, it's like, if there's some dust on the sensor, you just blow it out, or like isopropyl wipe it. It's really not a big deal to clean a sensor. Like realistically, there's the image sensor, and then there's the IR filter, and there's a piece of glass. So when you're cleaning it, it's not like there's dust actually getting on the sensor. It's getting on a piece of glass in front of the sensor. It's really not as big of a deal as it's made out to be, but I get it on expensive cameras, like you want to take care of it. But like these ones, you know, I have to clean the sensor before using it. No biggie. Is it a 35 millimeter or 120? That one's a 35 millimeter. Low-key happy seeing you sponsored because you deserve the clout. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. I'm still trying to be careful about it, though. Any type C related project? I got a couple in the notes. Don't know what the next one I'll actually do is. Eventually the iPhone C mount will come out. We'll get some C mount on a camera mod I have coming on a new camera. And whenever I revisit the EOS M. So yeah, C mount will make a comeback. I guess I haven't done any C mount type content in a while. Yeah. And then there's a couple longer term projects on that I'll be doing. Definitely much more coming. Joshua Whitney, what's up? Haven't seen your name here in a minute. Good to see ya. You ever watch Make with Miles? Sounds familiar. I've definitely seen him. I'm trying to remember who it was. Make with Miles. Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, I love his video style. I've not watched a ton of it. I honestly don't watch that much like maker content on YouTube anymore. I try not to watch too much stuff in the same genre just to not like influence or unintentionally copy things or whatever. Not covering your sensor equals engagement. Yeah, that's the real reason. I'm just comment farming. I just did a custom centerpiece for my 5th gen 400 to replace the useless cubbies with USB chargers and switches. That's dope. Sounds awesome. You ever tried full spectrum conversion yet? Filters are the expensive part. No. I don't really even know what that is. You mean like infrared conversion? I have not tried that. I sort of did it unintentionally poorly on the Insta360 because I don't think the infrared filters installed correctly on this camera after I did the mod. And so it kind of gets some infrared leaks and the whole picture turns out kind of pink. But I haven't made like a dedicated infrared camera yet. Where's he been? You talking about me? I've been working. But yeah, it was like a month there that I didn't post. Hopefully I'm back for good. You know, in the creative process, there's always ups and downs and other life things. That's just how it is. And I was gone for a week in there. No way he's live. How's it going, mate? What's up? Mr. Rave Hat, going well. Seen people talk about using a shutter close function to protect their sensor, and I'm like, if anything, it's gonna get ruined is the shutter. I know. That happens sometimes on my A6600, and I don't know why or what triggers it, because there's not a setting on this camera for it. I think because I broke the lens mount for the electronic pins. I think it's supposed to detect if there's not a lens on it, then it'll close the shutter when it turns off, but it doesn't actually do it because I broke the pins. My lens mount's very... I should really put a light like right here so when I hold stuff up to the camera you can actually see it on streams. It's something to do when I rebuild this desk. But yeah, the mechanical shutters are like really flimsy. I didn't know that until I like started messing around with one, but they're like pieces of paper. First time catching one of your streams, what's up? Have you ever seen this new channel on YouTube? Just started up a week ago. I think it's called Evan Monsma. Pretty sick. Nah, I never heard of him. What YouTube do you watch? These days, I basically... What even do I watch? Mostly podcasts. My algorithm's been kind of junk recently. Last couple days I've been watching like Minecraft videos. That's where my algorithm's at. So nothing great. I have to say I ended up buying one of those CCTV C-mount lenses thanks to your videos. I hope you enjoy it. They're very quirky. They're fun though. I'll bring mine Saturday if you're at the crib. Totally, dude. What are we doing this weekend? Yeah, come over on Saturday. If it's not raining, we'll do a bonfire or something. Think you'll do any more short films? Yes. Probably not in the short term. I really need to just focus up on more consistency on videos. Like, gotta try to get back to like a video a week type pace. But long term, yes. There'll be other short film type stuff. I got a crud load of C-mount because of him. Some are pretty cheap, nice glass. Yeah, some of my favorite lenses to use. I paid like $30 for in C-mount. They are lovely. The FX is broke. No, this is the A6600. We're looking through the FX30 right now. This is the B camera. It's been broke for a minute, so electronic lenses don't work for it. But mostly use manual lenses on this one anyway, so not a biggie. Too bad our server kind of died out. Yeah. One day I'll like do that more intentionally. But I can't play too much. I can't really play Minecraft without getting addicted to it, so I haven't been doing it. I haven't been on there. But there is a Minecraft server in the Discord, if anybody wants to play. Picked up an old World War II aviation gun camera a while back and so keen to try mounting the lens to my A6700. Struggling to find what mount it is. Yeah, it can be tough. There's a lot of weird no-name mounts. I feel like with those I just end up kind of holding it up to the camera, get a feel for the flange distance, and then like 3D print or glue something together to make a mount. How's Frankenstein car going? Haven't been working on it much. I was just talking about it a little bit. 4Runner's running fine, but haven't done any of the cab transfer yet. But soon I'll be chopping up the 4Runner into a pickup truck to get that process started. What's your favorite cam of all time? Or so far? I mean, to use, it's just the FX30. Honestly, the A6700 is probably the same camera, mostly. That could be my favorite if I owned one. But for right now, FX30. My favorite to shoot on, though, the M50 will always have a place in my heart. It's just so dead simple. The colors look so good right out of the camera, and they're so cheap now. Love that thing. Create outdoors. What's up? Battery mount you made in the last video was crazy. My filmmaking friends did not approve. Yeah, I got a lot of messages about that, saying you're crazy for this. But hey, it works. As a V2, I would do maybe a smaller unit that turns it into a V mount and interfaces with DTAP stuff. Something like that. And potentially I could even make that a product and sell it. I'd just be a little scared of liability if somebody breaks their camera with it. But I think doing it with V-mount would make that less of a big deal, because anybody that's using V-mount should know what they're doing with DTAP and everything. But yeah, pretty crazy that this even works. I was shooting on this last night for the next video, where I'm messing around with these cinema lenses. So I was downtown Indianapolis at sunset with this setup with the DeWalt battery. And it was a lot of fun to shoot on. Didn't die the whole time. Scrapwood pickup bed, hell yeah. Hell yeah, indeed. October's coming. Yeah, it is. I'll do some kind of daily thing. Hopefully a slightly more organized version of Daily October, where the community involvement is like more organized. But we'll see. We'll see how put together I am in 2.5 months. Liability would be the tricky part. Yeah. Yep. I'd have to do some research. Talk to a lawyer or something about how risky it is to sell a device that could kill your cameras if used improperly. Anything you dislike about the battery rig? The way I implemented it, or the way it's mounted right now, there's a lot of leverage off of the one tripod mount hole, so it can shift side to side a little bit, and it like loosens itself. So I need to, when I mount it to the FX30, I'll build a version that locks in so it can't shift around very much. As for functionality, not really. I haven't used it a ton yet. Like, I haven't filmed a full video on it yet. But for the most part, it seems pretty reliable, other than the fact that you can't really drain the battery all the way to the bottom. But that's not going to happen anyway. The battery life's so long. Last year found a cool looking 35mm camera at a thrift store in good condition for $5. Turns out it's an extremely rare 50s Pentax S model. Sounds sick. Where do you sleep? I built the bed thing there. So that flips out. Lately I've just been sleeping on the floor though with my I have like a rollout bed, like Japanese floor style bed, whatever those are called, which works plenty fine, and it gets me a lot more space in the room, and then I don't get like sawdust on my bed when I'm working, so gets the job done for now. Need to start on my camper conversion in the Forester. Yeah, that sounds sick. That's the long-term goal, is to like have enough like tool storage and space in the truck that I could just fully like go mobile workshop mode with it or something. Any recommendations for a repair shop? I do not know. Look around locally and see if you have a camera store, but I don't know. Jeremy Bork, what's up? I'm gonna switch out all my cameras to DeWalt batteries. Hell yeah. It's a fun solution. I am definitely gonna keep using it. Could you use an even bigger battery? Yeah. I talked about this in the second channel video. But the Bauer 5 amp hour battery lasted for 16 hours. They make this as a 12 amp hour battery, which in theory would run for about 41 hours if I remember the math right, which is just insane. Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, you could use a bigger battery if you need 40 hours of non-stop runtime. Are you still eating a steady diet of wood? Yes. I'm surviving mostly on wood, sawdust, 2x4s. Similar, maybe even scrap metal. Switch it up a little bit. Have you considered doing something with your ceiling? Having mounts, spray paint? I mean, it's a rental, so I would love to, but I can't. It would be nice. Wherever I move next, I would like to have higher ceilings so I can be a little more expansive with my shelving and like mounting stuff up there. I would love to be able to mount the softbox light to the ceiling, but there just is not enough space here because I think they're like 8-foot ceilings, so just not enough. Yo, Nanny, what's up? Hello, Bevman, Monsma. Whoa, whoa. You got me to read that. How's it going? Ever been to Europe? Nah. I don't have money for that. Would be fun though. What kind of music you into? All kinds of stuff, man. Everything. Mostly hip hop. Been listening to that new Clips album the last couple days. Done any more injection molding? What have I done since that video? I did a little test for some knobs for like synthesizers and audio gear. I wonder if this camera will pivot enough that you can see it. Yeah, so like on this synth, these kind of knobs, I made a mold for these. I haven't made any yet, because that, I gotta bring the whole freaking machine outside. But there will be another video on the injection molder where I make some of these in different sizes and also some of these switches. And I'd like to come up with a profile that I like really good and then make all of these knobs, levers on all my audio gear the exact same type of thing. And then potentially, there's no reason I couldn't just make a couple hundred of those and sell like different colors of knobs and switches and stuff. So I have a mold for that around here somewhere, which I need to run here soon. What's that watch you got on? Pretty cheap Seiko. I'm a Seiko guy. It's not the SKX 013 or whatever. It's the newer, cheaper version of that. Just some mechanical watch. Evan listens to Chief Keef exclusively. Yeah. I canceled my Spotify subscription and I have an iPod that's permanently on shuffle and it's just Chief Keef. That's my music taste. Yeah, injection molding though. And I'll probably do keycaps too at some point. You ever tired of all the clutter? No hate when you're overwhelmed, for example? Yeah, I don't know. But cleaning up is like cleaning and organizing the space is so good for the mindset. So it's like I kind of like the process of this whole desk gets just covered in crap when I'm working. And then when the video's done, I upload the video. My ritual is I just completely clean the studio, get this desk all cleared off, and then I check the comments on the video. So it's like a good hour of cleaning, and it's a nice little calm down ritual after finishing each video. So no, I don't really mind the clutter. It looks chaotic, but I do tend to keep it pretty clean in here. Unless I've got a really long project going, and then it gets wild. Should drop $1,000 on the teenage engineering synth. Nah, I'm good. I'll continue buying 20-year-old audio gear for $50. That's all good for me. What's your dream situation in 5 years? I want to buy a piece of land in the middle of nowhere and then do a video series where I build a house with my hands out of cinder blocks. That's my 5-year plan. Buy like a couple acres. But you know, who knows how achievable that is. You're gonna switch to Windows 11? Here's my hot take. This computer's on Windows 10. This computer's on Windows 11. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the difference. I moved the taskbar to the left, and I'm like a pretty tech savvy guy. I just haven't watched any videos about it, and like everybody's mad about Windows 11, but I just disabled Cortana and Copilot or whatever it's called. I moved the taskbar to the left, and it's the same thing, except for the only thing that annoys me is the File Explorer has tabs now, and that's like a little annoying, but you just click open new window instead of open new tab. It's like, I don't know. But I've come to a point with technology that with Windows and all that kind of stuff, I've just accepted that I do not own it and I'm not in control. And unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. So I just try to make as much of my life in physical objects that I do own and control as possible. And that's how I that's how I deal with it. So, you know, when I'm shopping for a freaking embroidery machine or something, they got new embroidery machines connected to apps and stuff that's going to stop working whenever they shut that down. Just buy the old embroidery machine. Like, it's a whole rant. Started off with Windows 11, but I'm like, you know, whatever. I can't control it. It's going to update itself to Windows 11, and it is what it is. I'll deal. But yeah, this computer's on 10. This one's on 11. The actual computer I edit on is on 11. Have you considered licensing your music for other creators to use in your videos? Yeah, I upload them all on my website. So if you're a paid member, you can get in for $5 a month, and all the downloads are there. Full permission to use them on videos. So yeah, that is available. I need to make some more music though. I haven't made a new one since the injection molding video. You have another job or do you do YouTube full time? It's off and on. So basically, off of YouTube, I make just enough money most months to cover rent and food. And then there's zero budget for the project. So I do that for a while. And then if I run out of money, then I pick up a part-time job for a couple months, save a little bit of money, and then I quit that. So it's like technically at this moment I'm full-time technically, but it's like weird. I think as long as you know where everything is, you're fine. Yeah. So that closet space used for it looks empty. Yeah, I recently tore out. There was like a terrible shelf and like coat hanger thing in there that was like landlord special, like just slathered in white paint. And it was falling apart and not level. So I took it out and now I'm going to build some shelves in there. So there was stuff in there disassembled. Now I'm going to build something new. From this angle, it does look empty, but there's a bunch of cases and boxes in there. And that's where I store my clothes too. Board game news. The board game is an extremely long-term project. So one day there'll be a video about it. But for now, that's all in the background. Basically, the thing with the board game is I'm a very like perfectionist dude in by instinct. Like I have trouble not being perfectionist with everything, which is why so many of my videos message is about not being perfectionist, because it's like something I'm trying to figure out too. And so the board game is like my excuse for a long-term project where I'm just going full perfectionist, and however long it takes, it takes. And that frees up my mind to be a little more loose with everything else that I do. So it's kind of just my outlet for my perfectionism. So like realistically, the board game will be another multiple years if I'm being real. So it's very much a background project. But I have done a lot of work in the month that I didn't really post. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on it. '80s to 2000s audio gear is so much cooler. I agree. And scrap wood. Yeah, scrap wood is back in that closet as well. Do you hate AI? I get AI hate vibes. Meh. I mean, in actual art, yes. In final products, yeah. But I'm not like a total AI hater like a lot of people are. I think it's easy and it's a fair take to just be like, AI is just bad across the board. I think it's pretty good for some things, for very early parts of projects. It's a bouncing board for ideas. I think it can be a useful thing, like say for summarizing. I don't use AI hardly ever. I did use it the other day because I was daydreaming about like I was talking about earlier, building a house, like buying land and building a house. And so I used AI to understand zoning and permits and code. So I would just put like these 70-page documents into it and then ask it questions. So I don't have to read like 70 plus pages of zoning for random counties in Indiana. I think that's a legit use case as like a starting point for getting information. That's my one case where I'll say, you know, maybe it's not all bad, but I also try to be an optimist about everything, and there is definitely a lot of terrible stuff coming out of it. You know, that's my optimist take, though. Windows 11 allows for old Windows XP software to run natively without having a mirror software. Is that true? That's sick. Can it do that for Windows 7 software too? I gotta try something. There's an old game from my childhood that ran on Windows 7 that I've been trying to play for a while, but I could never get it to work. But maybe it'll work on 11. What do you call your style? Deliberate utilitarianism? Word I've used before is like brutalist utilitarianism, where it's not just utilitarian, but like occasionally going out of its way to like be overly utilitarian, where it just like looks more ridiculous than it even needs to sometimes, like with how colorful and covered in spray paint everything is. But I don't know if that's a correct use of the term because brutalism is typically like bland concrete. So I don't know. I don't really have a word for it. Deliberate utilitarianism. I could see that working though. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Linux? I'll try it one day. I don't feel like I have time to get all my software running on it, but one day. New car video soon. I was talking about it earlier. Potentially the 4Runner chop into a pickup truck. Maybe in the next month or two. But that'll be the next car video we'll get. Thought about going to open source. I'm not going this year. It just doesn't make sense financially. I just need to focus on making more videos here at home instead of spending a lot of money going there. Just coming from Indiana to San Francisco, it's too far. I would have loved to go, but it just doesn't make sense. But next year. You use that TV behind you? I do. For the most part, it's like for illustrative purposes in the videos. Sometimes on the live streams, I put my chat on it. Oh, and there's one back there too. But yeah, sometimes I watch old movies on them, just if I think it's gonna look better than watching it on a regular TV. Thoughts on 3D printing with AI? I have no idea what that is. Sounds kind of cool though. I don't know what that is. Like 3D modeling with AI? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead in the chat a little bit. I might catch up. What does your studio space smell like? That's a funny question. Usually, mixture of sawdust, wood stain, pretty light. Sometimes, weirdly enough, there's this type of clay that I have that I use for projects occasionally because it's a non-air drying clay, so it never settles. And I use this for modeling things up sometimes. I haven't really used it on the channel much. But you can sculpt things and then make molds out of silicone with them. And this specific kind of clay that I have has like a vanilla smell to it that's like really nice. And sometimes the studio smells like that, like a mix of vanilla and sawdust. But I don't know. I'm also so used to it in here that I don't know that I would know any discernible smell. Wood stain, probably, is realistically an answer. Will there be another project month in October? Yeah, probably. Hopefully more organized this year. More live streams. Yeah. I haven't brainstormed super hard about it yet, but October there will be some kind of thing. I was able to run my scanning software on it, no issue. Yeah, I'll try it after stream. That is good to know. My studio and room has been getting more heavily influenced by yours and Van Nystadt's. I love it. I love it. It's utilitarian. It's dope. Why am I've been looking at this screen the whole time for the chat, but it probably makes more sense to look at this one instead of turning my head the whole time. Is this the same? Yeah, it's caught up. Would you be down to set up monthly photo comps in the Discord? Maybe. If somebody in there wants to like take some kind of leadership role in that, I could be down. I just don't have time, and I'm not a photographer really, so I don't know how good I would be at it. But I would be down to like facilitate that happening. Love your channel, your creative juggernaut. Thank you. Fix more stuff in a month and a year because of the October project. I love to hear that. Probably same here too. Okay. I skipped a bunch of these chats. If it doesn't work straight out of the box, you can run it in a compatibility mode. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it. You're a night owl or a morning person? Definitely more productive as a morning person, but then I end up becoming a night owl because when you get in a flow state, sometimes it becomes 1 a.m. and I don't realize it's 1 a.m. and then sleep schedule is screwed. So usually try to be a morning person though. 100% feel you on the perfectionist line. I work as a dev that gives me near unlimited ability to rework and perfect. Leaves me paralyzed when trying to build stuff in the physical world. Yeah, I feel that. So I try to like segment all my perfectionism into one thing as best I can. But it's tough. AI's good research tools should not be used to do creative work. IMO. I agree. What camera would you recommend for a beginner? Don't know. I've recommended the M50 in the past, but at this point, for not much more money, you can get stuff with much more reliable autofocus in 4K. Depends what you're doing. I mean, it's such a open question, photography or videography. You know, if you want really solid autofocus for cheap, maybe look at the Sony A6000 line. Coming in late, haven't caught you live in a while. Was wondering if you moved or how things are going. Nope, still in the same spot. Things are going decent. It's been a bit chaotic, but getting back on my feet now. I'm gonna try to have like a really solid upload schedule moving forward for the rest of the year, hopefully. Okay, I think I caught up on the chat now. New video soon, yes. Working on it right now. Cinema lenses on a bunch of different kinds of cameras that they should not be on. So one more kind of goofy camera modding video. And then we'll get back to some workspace improvements and then a car video. That's the plan. Is your roommate a creative as well? Yeah. My roommate's a long-term friend since like middle school, high school. He's been in a couple videos. It's Michael. He'll be in this week's video as well because I was out shooting with him for this video. We were testing these lenses. So yeah, he's a long-term friend, also filmmaker. right now he's working in professional, like more corporate video. So he does a lot nicer quality stuff than I do most of the time. I'm just in here in my room, freaking playing with scrap wood. But yeah, that's very good to have like a roommate that's down with all the creative stuff, and also that I've just known for a while. How big would your workshop be in your dream home that you build? For me, it's all about ceiling height, man. I could operate in this size room for a long time, but I want to like double the ceiling height, you know? I want like 12-foot ceilings. So I guess that's not double, but I want an extra like 4 feet on top of this. Just so I can do like storage way up high, ladders, have lights hanging from the ceiling. I don't know that I ever want to spread out that much. Cut to me in 10 years with a massive garage. I don't know. I don't see myself ever needing more than a couple hundred square feet. Unless I get some crazy equipment like laser cutters and lathes and stuff. Evan wants to build a 15 by 15 foot house with no ceiling. Unironically, yes. What I want is a 15 by 15 by 15 cube. And that will be my house. That's all I need. Yeah. Maybe like 15 by 25, 15 by 30, and I'd combine like this room plus a car garage. That would be the dream setup. Like imagine if it's exactly this setup, but that wall's gone and it's another 20 feet that way with just my car in the background. And then I can like work on all that kind of stuff in the same room. That would be the dream. Evan wants a Minecraft chunk. Yeah, basically. What's that, 16 by 16? Exactly. We need some Monsma background music on the live streams. I could do that. I kind of prefer it like podcast vibes with no music myself. Although it might be kind of weird today. The audio situation is different. I have a noise gate on today, so if I don't talk, it goes down to complete silence, where usually there's a like white noise in the background. And that's just because it's so hot. I'm running a fan right now. Where's the legendary racing jacket? Too hot outside, man. That thing's like thick black canvas. It's too much. Also, I realized I was giving Home Depot so much free advertising with that thing. So at some point, I'm going to make my own racing jacket with my own whatever embroidery I want to put on it. So at some point when it starts to cool down again, I'm going to do some like garment making, like stitching up a jacket from scratch, which will be a really fun project. Once tried to run my phone on a DeWalt battery and it caught fire immediately. That's funny. As long as everybody was safe and you didn't burn down your house or anything. Oh, that is... Did you just wire it straight 20 volts into it? I'm going to try to do something similar where I'm going to power an old Android phone off of camcorder batteries. But I really got to make sure everything works properly. But yeah, that is a real concern. Like every time I'm screwing around with electronics of any kind, I'm like, I make sure I know where the fire extinguisher is, have like a window open so I can chuck it out if I need to. All that kind of stuff. Should get a school bus and turn it into a tiny home slash studio. I would. I did think about it. In like 2021, I was before when this channel had like 100 subs. I was on a big like van life planning arc. I was shopping for old cargo vans and stuff. Which, fun fact, is actually the reason that these desks are only 2 feet deep. It's because I designed these to fit in the back of a Chevy G30 90s van. So that's why they're so shallow. And then I ended up liking it, so I just kept them. But yeah, I think that would be sick one day. It's just like, where do you park? And how much money am I realistically even saving? If I have to pay for parking spots, it's just, it would be anxiety inducing, I think, not knowing where I'm going to go. And also internet, then you're paying for Starlink or whatever. That would be a fun adventure at some point, though. At least short term, I would like to do an on the road series where I like turn my truck bed into like a mobile workshop kind of thing and then just go around the country. Possibly in like maybe 2 years. Say my channel has like 100K subs or something. I've got a little more movement and a little more financial stability. I would love to do like a road trip series around the US and Canada and just like collab with people. Monsma Depot. Yeah, exactly. Trying to replace the battery of my S3 Neo with rechargeable AA batteries. Sounds fun. Any projects you regret doing the way you did but can't justify redoing? That's a good question. I gotta think about that. That is a very good question. Can't justify redoing is tough. I feel like I can justify redoing most things. But that's because I'm not really approaching most things logically. And I will waste a week on redoing a project on a whim. Because as long as I can make a video on it, it's kind of okay to do things that don't make sense. I mean, it's okay in general, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's examples of me just breaking things. Like I was trying to mod my A6600 to do something, and I broke the electronic contacts on the lens. But I can't really justify spending $100 on the replacement part to fix that. That kind of thing. But I don't know that there's anything that I actually can't justify redoing. Ask me again in 6 months, when I've cab swapped my truck, if I go through with that. And maybe I'll tell you I regret that. That's a real possibility. But right now, nah. I kind of approach everything from an angle of like making it easy to change later if I have to. That's why everything is 2x4s and exposed screws, so like everything in the studio is modular, you know? Van Neistat stopped YouTube opinion? Did he? Did he quit? I didn't see that. Or is he just like on a break? He goes on breaks sometimes. Oh, yeah. 3 months ago. Huh. I feel like, didn't he post something else? Did he delete it? I don't know. I imagine he hasn't quit. Did he say something about that on Patreon? He's doing shorts only. Yeah. I imagine he'll be back. He's disappeared for a little bit before. It's just, that's the way it is. I mean, I was just gone for a month, basically. Which of the Neistat brothers is your favorite? Can't pick. Can't pick. My style currently is definitely more similar to Van's, but I honestly take more influence from Casey. I don't know. I don't know if there's a good answer to that. Casey inspired me to start more. But like, I was doing this kind of thing before Van was on YouTube. Like it was seeing Casey in his daily vlog in like when I was in high school that kind of made me consider this sort of lifestyle of like just building stuff and making your studio look crazy and just kind of filmmaking on your own terms, that kind of stuff. Do any PC gaming? Nah. Every once in a while I get addicted to Minecraft for a week, but I try not to. So, generally not a gamer these days. Fair. Anything you're still using just for the bit? Actually, that does remind me. The Monster Truck office chair. I don't know how many of you saw that video because I posted it when I had, that was like when I had 800 subs or something. But like 2 years ago, I made an office chair with these like 10-inch caster wheels, and it was just not good. And the conclusion of the video was like, okay, yeah, this is fun, but it was stupid. And I tried to use that for like a couple months because I was like, nah, I'm gonna figure this out. It's gonna be good, but it just wasn't. That is probably my biggest fail in recent memory. Um, 4.8 volt isn't too much for a smartphone, right? I do not know. Not the expert on this. Like if I were doing that myself, I would try it and be ready for it to blow up. Like I don't know these things. I don't know. It's always when I discover a cool channel, they switch it up or stop uploading. You're an exception to the rule. I'm glad you consider me an exception because I'm nowhere near as consistent as I would like to be, but you know, I kick myself for it sometimes, but then I realize in the grand scheme of thing, a lot of my favorite creators will go 8 months without posting sometimes. So when I'm beating myself up for going away for 1 month, it's like, you know, could be worse. Could be worse. And I only get better at it too. It's just that's the journey of constantly improving. It's the perfect backdrop video while I edit my drill powered go-kart video. Sounds sick. Just creative musings in the back of my head while putting clips together. Thanks, man. Any thoughts on Scott Eugene's style? I love that man. He's got such a unique way of doing things. I've described it before as like we are the polar opposites in terms of visual style. He paints all of his tools white. I paint all my tools multicolored. His projects are so freaking cool. And his videography is insane. Yeah. Love his stuff. And he shouted me out in videos before, which I appreciate. Huge. Or like light shout out. He'll put me on the screen of like the Mac Mini or whatever. I haven't actually talked to him yet. I should. I've connected with a couple creators that I look up to, but for whatever reason I haven't talked to Scott yet. That was the video I found you from. That was sick. I'm glad you liked it. It was crazy. That one was silly. gosh, I've gotten so much better since that. I remember that video took me 3 months to make. Like, I wasn't even working on anything. I mean, I had a full-time job, but like, that was everything I was doing for 3 months. And it was just a stupid chair with wheels. uh, I look back at that one to see how much I've improved. Have you considered doing a full in-depth studio tour? Maybe. I always forget to do stuff like that because I'm always thinking about the next project, but then I'm like, oh yeah, like I haven't done like a basic. I don't think about doing like my studio tour or like my camera collection or videos like that because it's like it's all been built over the course of the channel. So from my POV, I feel like I've covered it and I forget that like there's new people here and I need to cover those things. So yeah, I should do a studio tour. In the last studio, I did it after I moved out, or like the week I was moving out. I made a studio tour before tearing everything down. But I'll be here for another year at least, so it would kind of make sense to do an update. We're gonna be doing some big overhauls though, so maybe this winter that would be good. Because this whole nook's gonna get redone, and kind of how this big L desk works is gonna get redone a little bit. Any plans for another vid with Miscast? We're gonna do I think we're gonna do it Adepticon injection molding as a trilogy. So next March, no promises, but next March we'll do a final version of that. And then it'll be me more freeform. But I would love to do something little with him that's not like at 2 a.m. at an event, you know? Yeah, we'll definitely collaborate more. But I'm focusing on getting my own schedule straight, and then I think 2026 I'm gonna try to do a lot more collabs. Because I've got connects with a fair amount of cool people that I'm sure would be super down to collab. But that's for the future. Your vids appear at the best times. Stay unpredictable. Thanks, man. While I work on architecture, I like to have your vids in the background. Thank you. Any plans for big projects coming up? Big like the injection mold machine. I mean, the desk overhaul is pretty big, potentially. I have a very big camera mod, or very ambitious camera mod, that will be coming. The car, I mean, chopping the car in half and turning it into a pickup truck is pretty big. Stuff like the injection molder. Eventually, the modded embroidery machine for making hats. That'll be a fairly big thing. What else? I'm scrolling my schedule now. I kind of have some big storytelling videos in mind where it's less of a project video and more like near a short film or like mini doc. Where like I just have other stories that I'd like to tell about like my creative journey. Kind of like I did years ago with like the first video on my channel that's just about me moving into a basement, and that's like what started the channel. That video is bad though. I wasn't good at making videos at that time. But that vein of thing, I just like to cover like multiple years of my life in one giant storytelling video. So that's a big thing, but that's not a project. What other big projects? Yeah, big camera thing. Yeah, everything else is farther out timeline wise. Yeah. Camera, car, studio overhaul, some storytelling stuff. Potentially getting back into some sewing stuff, like I was talking about, making a jacket from scratch, maybe making a camera bag. What else? What else? What else? And then the massive project whenever the board game stuff starts, but that will happen whenever that needs to happen. Potentially much later. I'm not rushing that stuff. And some fairly big music production things that I have coming. As in like modifying synths and stuff like that. I joined late, want to start over. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go back and... Oh, dang, it's been an hour, 30 minutes. Whoa. Let's see. JK, love the channel. Your work inspired me to finally start my own channel. Thank you. I love that. That's the goal. Big thumbs up there for the story videos as well. It's a really good, so a new one in that style would be great. Yes, I would. I've got 2 of those in mind, maybe 3. One of them I want to tell the story of like my first business that got me into like creative stuff and kind of veering off the traditional path of this business that I was running in high school. And then I want to tell the story of like the last 3 years all in one video of just like everything behind the scenes of like making the YouTube dream happen. Or as far as up to this point, at least. I just remember the first video I saw from you, the custom headlights. I would definitely do stuff like that if the TV didn't exist. Yeah. I got a lot of comments on that from EU people of like, this would not fly in my country, especially Germany. Yeah, I feel for you. I love Van Nystadt's camera bag, but holy shit, it's expensive. Yeah. Yeah. He has a lot of expensive things, but we're at very different points in our careers. I would like to make a very junky version of that. And maybe release some guides for it or something. Has the game and play pieces coming along? As I wrote the question, you mentioned the board game. Yeah. Yep. Doing some back end stuff last month, which is part of the reason I was away for a bit. But we're back now, locking in again with renewed vision. I feel like working on a long-term giant project like that just helps give me a vision for how to move forward on everything else. Got to take a step back sometimes, look at the big picture, and it's kind of renewed my plans and just path of how I'm moving forward and exactly what I'm trying to work towards. How long have we been going? Almost an hour 30 on the dot. That might be it for me today. I'm kind of rusty on live streaming, but I appreciate all y'all hanging out, answering questions. I would like to, hopefully by the next live stream, I can do some more project working on the stream. That's something I'd like to get more into. I've been setting up the cameras again. Actually, I just unplugged it. I had the top-down camera working though. So all that's hooked up again. We'll be back on multicam, longer project-based live streams. It was a great time per usual. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Love the video about the camera battery. Seeing you use the notebook gave me a fuzzy feeling. Hell yeah. I'm glad you saw that. Oh yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that actually. I wanted to talk about P.O. Box. I've been opening a couple P.O. Box things. I haven't mentioned it in a while, so I haven't really been getting much in the P.O. Box, which is as expected, but I got one or two things. First off, Methodical Maker sent me a sick wooden Milwaukee fastback. So he CNC'd this thing. I slightly modified it on the other side, so this little metal bit wasn't there. But yeah, he made a wooden Milwaukee knife, which is just dope. And I was using that in the video too. And the notebooks, I believe I unboxed those on stream. And then somebody else sent me a roll of PLA, a roll of transparent filament, and some metal knobs for the bed leveler, which is so cool. Because I was literally going to make some of these. So they're these metal knobs. Because the stock ones on the printer are so, like, flimsy. They're little plastic things. So big thank you for those. That was very appreciated. Yeah, and that's it.